Hey friends, today I'm checking out clematis, peonies, and berry bushes at Home Depot to see what's in stock, and then I'm going to be planting foxglove seedlings in my January garden. Let's get started. Hey y'all, it's Amanda and this is my Texas Zone 8 garden. And before we dive in, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share with a fellow gardening friend. Okay, so today is going to be a little hodgepodge. We're going to run into the Home Depot because I need a few things, and I had a neighbor tell me that they finally got in their bare roots, clematis, berry bushes, hostas, all that good stuff. So we're going to go take a look, and then we're going to go back to the house, and I'm going to be planting foxglove out in the front and side gardens. Okay, so I'm at the Home Depot in Wiley at the corner of 78 and 544. And last week I came and we did all of these roses and those are out. But now we have lots of other stuff, including clematis and berries and peonies and hostas. So let's take a look at what they have. Now, hostas are something that I don't love, but many of y'all have encouraged me that I do need to give them a try again. And I think it's because my father-in-law used to grow hostas years ago, and he used to get so pissed off all the slugs and all this stuff. And so I guess that's kind of just left over for me. But let's look at some of the varieties. And so basically the bare root is planted in here. It's basically bare root. I mean, it's fancy because it's already in the soil, but it's a bare root that they just popped in there. So you're looking at $9.98 per bare root. So this particular one is hard to eat our area, and it's called guacamole. And I do remember my father-in-law used to grow it, and it did used to have that like guacamole look to it, avocado look. This one right here is called Sugar and Spice. So this is only about 18 to 20 inches. I wouldn't mind some smaller hostas to try out in my shade garden. I think that'd be nice. I do like their flowers too. I think they're very pretty. This one's called Fragrant Dream. About 20 to 24 inches. This one looks like it has larger leaves, but it's in that guacamole color that we were just looking at. This one is called Francis Williams. Here's one that's an unusual blue color, but it's really big, so 3 to 4 feet. And it is called Blue Angel. Now, those of y'all who have grown hostas, let me know if you have a suggestion for a first-time hosta. It wouldn't be a first time. I've grown them before. First time at my current house. This one is about 16 to 18 inches tall, and it is first frost, and I do like the variegation. This one is Pizzazz at 18 to 20 inches, so there are a lot of smaller options, which is nice. And this one is Paul's Glory at 24 inches. And it looks like it has all the same varieties on this next level and on the level below that. You can see some of these have been uprooted a little bit. But at some point soon, you're going to start see that little green coming up? It's good stuff. $10. It seems like a good price, although it's hard to tell how big these roots are going to be because obviously they're tucked in under the soil. Okay, they have a lot of berry bushes, and I have been interested in starting some berries, especially strawberries. We consume a lot of strawberries at our house, and I would love to be able to grow some of my own. So these, once again, are bare root, and it says that there are 10 plants in here. And the price is $12.98. So I assume, oh my gosh, why do they have it upside down like this? It drives me bonkers. It says 10 plants for a 12-foot row in the garden. I assume you take them out of here and you divide up the plants. You can already see a lot of them coming up. most strawberries are pretty cold hardy. This particular variety is everbearing strawberries, and they're called Fort Laramie. These are known for being sweet and juicy, and they're going to produce in June through September, and they prefer full sun to partial shade. So it looks like one plant per foot. All the strawberries are all the same. They're all that Fort Laramie. Okay, over here we do have some raspberries. I have never taken on raspberries because I've heard that they can be quite invasive. And I do love them. Even if you put them in containers, a lot of time they can grow right out the bottom of your container. But this raspberry, yellow raspberry called Fall Gold, is just lovely. Ooh. It looks a little prickly, but it's pretty soft, and you can already see the little green starting to poke out. Like I said, I'd love to do this, but with my small property, I just can't see myself handling that well. Okay, there's a very small space I'm trying to tuck myself into. All right, some additional raspberries. They have this variety, which is Heritage. This one says that it is high yielding. And it says it has large sweet fruit, about 4 to 5 feet tall. Very healthy looking plants, I will say. Heritage. This one right here is Latham. And this one has large sweet fruit, about 6 feet tall. That's a big one. Boyne. High yielding as well, 4 to 5 feet tall. These are pretty massive. Their roots are very aggressive. We've got some black raspberry, beautiful. Jewel, those are gorgeous. This one's only about 4 feet tall. All right, down here, I'm having a bend down in here. We have some honeyberry, and this is the male version. So this is Mr. Honeyberry. So you also have to have Mrs. Honeyberry. And you need 2 of them so that they can cross-pollinate each other and create berries. This one's called Berry Blue, only about 3 to 6 feet tall, which is still pretty massive in my opinion. We also have gooseberries, which I think are very interesting little berries, about 3 to 4 feet tall. Pixwell is this particular variety. Gooseberry jam is really, really good. Currants is definitely something that I have wanted to grow. This particular variety is called Crandall. Look at the thorns on that gooseberry, y'all. Brutal. Jostaberry. I've never even heard these ever. Very pretty. Large plant, 6 feet tall. And another blackberry. This is a thornless blackberry. And it's called Chester. And it's about 6 to 8 feet tall. Massive. Y'all, please beware. If you plant some of these berries, they can go bonkers on you. Make sure you have plenty of space. And if it decides to send off runners, which a lot of raspberries do, you might want to pay attention to that. So we do have a lot of blueberries across the top. The first one right here is called Blueberry Patriot. High yielding, about 3 to 4 feet. I would love to grow blueberries. I think they're a little less aggressive than raspberries. Also have Blueberry Top Hat. This one's only 2 feet, and it says it's high yielding. So maybe like this size would be appropriate for me, for my garden. This next one is blueberry. It's called Pink Lemonade. I think Kristen has grown this one before. It's about 4 to 5 feet tall. Beautiful berries. Next is Polaris. 3 to 4 feet. Next is North Blue. And this one is smaller too, at 2 feet. Those of y'all who have grown blueberries, tell me Top Hat and North Blue are the smaller varieties. I think that's what I would feel confident, starting in a smaller variety. I'd probably start it in a container. And then here's Northland. This one's about 3 feet tall. This one says it has a wild blueberry flavor. And then Patriot, which we've already seen. Okay, here's what I'm really excited about. Clematis and Peonies. There's also lilac. Lilac doesn't do as well in my area, so I'll show you the varieties, but I'd be very interested for those of you who do grow lilac in the North Texas area, what your thoughts are on that. I love Clematis. Now, it looks like they've got some vines, so they're a little bit bigger. Some of them already have blooms or buds coming up on them, which is cool. So you're getting one plant or one bare root for $14.98. You can get it for less, but this seems pretty substantial size, and with already the vines coming up, that's pretty great. So this first one is Nellie Moser. Really pretty traditional pink color, climbing vine. This guy is about 9 to 13 feet, so pretty big clematis there. Next is Rouge Cardinal. This one is about 8 to 12 feet. These, like full sun, they're really great for cutting. Sort of cutting arrangements is really pretty. I've got 5 or 6 clematis, but all these varieties are new to me. We also have Vagabond, which is a little bit smaller, 4 to 6. I do like some of the smaller varieties. I think are pretty. I planted a Jackmani at the base of my Don Juan rose. I'm really excited to see what that looks like this year. Ville de Leon, some about 9 to 12 feet tall, very pretty. I like that color. If it's actually kind of that reddish salmony pinky color, I really like that. It's kind of different. Most of them I always feel like look like this kind of situation, or even the purple situation, but that's really pretty. A little different. Next is Little Duckling, climbing vine, and it is 6 foot tall. I do like the little ruffled picoty edges. I think it's really pretty. And then more of the Nellie Moser. All right, next looking at the lilacs. Now, lilacs in Florist World are very expensive, and I swear if you look at them wrong, they turn brown and die. They are so particular. And I have never heard of anybody having that much success regarding lilacs in the North Texas area. So there's always a few out each season, but I'm kind of surprised, like, I mean, that's a lot out here. But this first variety is called Madame Lemoyne, and this is a big one, 10 to 13 feet tall. So this will be a massive tree, not just a shrub. Ideal for cut flowers, but like I said, they bruise and brown very easily. If you get any kind of your like hand oils, anything on them, they struggle. Very expensive in Florist World. Next, this variety is called Hope. Very pretty purple color, very fragrant, 10 to 13 feet tall. All of these are way too big for my garden. This one is called Mange, 10 to 13 feet tall. I really, really like that coloring. This one is a dwarf, Palaban dwarf, and 4 to 5 feet tall. Very pretty, sweet, delicate flowers. Ooh, look at this next one. Sensation. Oh, I love that. The bicolor. So pretty. And that is 10 to 13 feet tall. Looks like all these are hardy to zone 3. President Gravy. Also pretty. 10 to 12 feet. And here's another dwarf. This one is called Miss Kim. 4 to 6 feet tall. Okay. And then down here we have peonies. And I've had some recent success with peonies, so I'm a little bit more interested in a little bit more, potentially investing a little bit more in some peonies. I've had success with them in containers, which has been pretty awesome. So let's start. And I use a lot of peonies in Floral World when I was a florist. Shirley Temple, super pretty, kind of creamy bloom, tends to have a touch of light pink to it, which is really nice. These do well in full sun to part sun. This one's about 32 to 34 inches tall. All right, next is Bowl of Beauty. So it's a beautiful bicolored. So the outer petals are a pink and it's kind of a creamy cactusy look in the center, which is very pretty. And this one is 34 to 36 inches tall. Hardy to zone 3. Next is Red Magic. And I do love a red peony. This one's about 28 to 36 inches tall. This next one is a Carl Rosenfeld, which I have one in my garden. I don't think it gets enough sun, so maybe we'll consider moving it. It's about 24 to 30 inches tall. Okay, we also have Alex Fleming, and I feel like I have this in my garden, but I can't remember right at the moment. 26 to 30 inches tall. I like that one. This one is pretty. Pink Pompadour. It's like a pinkish, fuchsia, purplish color. About 30 inches tall. I would be interested in like looking at these and looking up all the information on these and seeing which produces the most blooms. Because I know the older they get, the more blooms they produce. But I want it to produce a lot of blooms. Festiva Maxima, which is used a lot in floral world. So it has a little bit of this like bold dark pink mixed in with the white creamy petals. 30 to 36 inches tall. Very pretty flower. And then back here, oh, I like this. This one is called Paula Fay. And I like how you can see the center. So it's like a pink with a little bit of coral tone to it. 34 to 36 inches tall. And these are all $13. And it's nice because you can look in and already see them putting off some growth. You can kind of dig around here and here a little bit. But that's pretty cool that you can already see a lot of that happening. You got a lot. Looks like they just got them in. And they have everything on carts because we've had so many freezes lately. They're moving them in and out. But I already went over all the roses with you all. There's still tons of roses here. So if you're interested, you can come check these out. Okay, so they had a good selection of stuff. I thought everything looked in really good shape. I thought a lot of the prices were fair, especially for the Clematis, because typically Clematis can be very expensive. And especially since it already had some vining coming up out of it. It wasn't just straight bare root. I thought that those were very well priced. I ended up not picking anything up. I added a lot of Clematis last year, and I'm not sure where I want to put one for this year yet. But now that I know it's available here at Home Depot, I will think about it and keep an eye out and decide where I might want to pick up one or maybe two to put in the garden. But let's go ahead and head home, and I'm going to be planting out some Foxglove seedlings that I started in November. Okay, so today is January 28th, the day I'm being filmed. I'm trying to do more dates to help out. And I am outside, yes, and it is in the 50s. And no, I'm not cold yet. I might get colder later. I've been moving around a lot, so. But basically what I have is foxglove seedlings that need to go into the ground. And I know it seems like a weird time to be planting them, but hear me out. Let me explain. Okay, so I usually start foxglove seedlings during the summer, usually in July sometime, grow on those seedlings and then plant them out in fall. And then they have plenty of time to root and then they overwinter and then I have blooms in the spring. This year I did that whole process except when I went to plant them outside, I forgot that they were out there. I just put the trays out there to harden them off and I forgot to water them and they all died. So I had to restart all of these. So I restarted these. Let's see if there's any. I started these on November 18th. And so they've had a little over 2 months to grow, about 9 weeks to grow. They're beautiful. They're in really good shape. and I need to get them planted outside. So I was looking at my forecast for the next like 10 to 14 days, and we do not have any ridiculously cold temps. And in fact, there's a couple of days we're up into the 70s because it's North Texas. That's how things roll. And so I want to go ahead and get these planted in, so they'll have almost 2 weeks to start getting rooted in before we get some colder temps. And even the colder temps will only be at the freezing mark, and foxglove do really, really great in cold weather. Okay, and you'll have to excuse me, I'm getting over a cold and I'm all sniffy, which is no fun. Okay, let's talk about a few things about the foxglove. In some areas, they're perennial. They act as annuals in my area. They die due to the heat, and so I treat them as annuals. This particular variety is called Foxy Mix. It's about 3 foot tall, but it's a little bit shorter, and it's a wide mix of colors. A lot of other foxgloves get 4 feet and taller as well. They prefer partial shade, well-draining soil. They don't like to be fertilized heavily right this moment. If I were to come in here, and I've got my fertilizer right here. If I was going to come in here with a fertilizer right now, I can use like this one. This is a slow release fertilizer. That would be okay. You don't want to go in with any kind of liquid fertilizer or fertilizer that's going to give it like a big punch right now. Because we don't want it to grow all its stuff right now. It's not ready. It's not time. We want to wait until further along towards the spring. So we are going to put a little bit of slow release, but other than that, that's what we're going to stick with. As a reminder, foxglove are very toxic. So after handling these, I will need to make sure that I wash my hands. You cannot ingest any part of the plant. And in fact, their blooms, so when you sniff their blooms, their pollen is considered toxic. So do not plant foxglove unless you are perfectly okay that everything's going to be all right. I've been planting them for years and not had any issues. They are hardy zones 4 through 9, can handle as low as -30 to -20 degrees. So they're going to be fine out here. Can easily survive winter temps, but they struggle in temps over 85, hence the reason they are not perennial in my area. There are some biennial varieties as well. I just treat all of mine like annuals. Okay, so I'm going to place a few. I don't want them all to be like one big giant planting of all of them together. I want clusters of them in different places, which I think just adds a lot of interest to my front garden. And I did follow this a little bit last year as well. And I did not have as many last year. I maybe had a dozen. And I think this year I've got like maybe 25, 26, somewhere right around there. And so I'm going to go ahead and lay them out, and I'll show you where I'm going to plant them with the hopes of really getting like a cottage core kind of feel. Okay, so they do like partial shade, but also because I don't treat them like perennials, I don't stress about it, because by the time our sun gets hot enough, they're done anyway. So I would like to put some right around here. Now where I'm standing is typically my winter planter, which I've got tucked back here because we've had some pretty extreme freezes. Doesn't look that great, but it's totally fine. But it usually goes right here on top of these rocks. Oh, look at us. We got a hellebore coming up over here. Oh, that's pretty. Let me just... That looks pretty. So I would like to do a cluster planting of them right here. Yeah, and they'll almost create like a little wall, and then behind here will be the planter. The planter's usually back here. I probably could go back a little further with a couple of more foxglove, but let me place the other ones to see what that looks like first. Now this right here is a little quick fire hydrangea, which is going to be dug up and moved to the back. Hopefully soon, but we'll see. It just doesn't fit right there in that spot, and I actually think it gets not enough sun, so it doesn't bloom as healthily, as beautifully as I would prefer it to. Let's find another area to cluster these. Okay, now this area right here, we've got the limelight hydrangeas, which I did not cut back this winter yet, and I really, really like that I left it up for all this winter interest. I think it's really pretty. In about a month, I'll come back and I'll significantly cut these back, and they will take several months to grow back. So all this taller, that we see here with the limelight will be gone in the spring. So I would like to add some interest here. They'll be way shorter with just green leaves. So I would like to come in, and I think I want to do some clusters of them in this area. This area still faces north. And I think that I can work them back a little bit and not have to stress, because this will be gone and they can grow up through there just fine. So I think if I did that and then maybe like another cluster over here. And I do have to be careful because I still have daffodil bulbs trying to come up. But not a straight line, just a cluster of those. I think will look really, really good. Okay, so we're just continuing around the front. And now this direction is west. Over here you can see a bunch of the dahlias. This is a lantana, and I think I'm going to cut this back, some of this back real quick. The dahlias, the lantana, and right here this is a Texas rock rose. And I'm going to do a little cutting back because, first of all, the lantana takes a really long time to come back. That's what this is right here. It's not going to be showing its head until June. By that time, the foxglove are already done. Like, they're done for the season. So, and then the dahlias are not going to give me any flowers anytime soon. So I think just doing a small cluster of them right in this area will be really nice, kind of carrying on as we go around the curve. And there's a few other places I want to do it on the side garden. Let me get some pruners. Okay, so I'm going to leave a few of the stems up. I'm going to leave like 2 to 3 inches up on the lantana just so I can see where it is. Lantana is kind of hit or miss for me. Sometimes it comes back, sometimes it doesn't. There we go. And then I'm going to take the rock rose back in a few places as well, but not really low. Just enough. All right, and then I'm also taking off the stems of the dahlia. I'm leaving a few inches up so that I know where it is. And you can see how much that cleans up this area in a hurry. All right, just a trio right there. Okay, and we are definitely on the west side, and all that green is weeds. I think I'm gonna need a hoe. Let me go get that. Now, like I said, this area faces west. I'm not really worried about these getting too much sun. So like I said, they will already bloomed and be done by the time we get close to summer. Yeah, I think that'll look good. Okay, and then I'm just gonna tuck in a trio right over here as well. Right, this front part is a bunch of yarrow that I transplanted. There's also some sedum. Back here is a Windwalker red salvia. Over here, some chocolate cosmos and some coneflower. There's actually quite a bit of this that's going to get transplanted into the backyard when we get the new stuff going. All right, let's start planting. And I do still have to be careful because there are a lot of daffodils still trying to come up. Just very exciting. Remember, we're just going to put in a little bit of slow release. So we'll have a cluster of them there, a larger cluster there, and remember they're going to come up like 3 feet tall. And then we'll have another grouping here, another grouping there. Let me come back this direction. So from this angle, you'll be able to see some there, there, and there. And then less coming down the west side. So we've got a larger cluster tucked in there. And then one more smaller cluster there. Okay, and then it started raining. So the inside got changed, but it's nice to actually have some rain. We're supposed to have a lot of rain this week, which will be really good for all those new plants that I planted in. I do want to make sure I emphasize for the Foxglove, I made sure on my forecast that I didn't have any crazy temps for a while. Got them planted in, well watered in. They have lots of rainwater, so lots of time to situate themselves outside prior to us getting back to cooler temps. So that is key. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, seeing what's going on at Home Depot with surprisingly all the hostas and berry bushes, as well as clematis, peonies, and lilacs. That was super fun to look through. And then also seeing me plant out my foxglove seasons. This is the second time I'm doing the foxglove seedlings after I killed them in the fall, but hopefully this time we're good to go, and maybe I don't have to start my foxglove as early as I used to if this ends up working. So we'll see. As always, make sure you like and comment on the video. Every time you comment, it helps grow my channel so much. And if you don't feel comfortable leaving a comment, just drop an emoji below, letting me know that you made it to the end of the video and that you say hi. And be sure to check me out on my social media outlets, including Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. If TikTok goes dark, you can find me on YouTube Shorts. As always, she's a mad gardener or a decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.